Your wall of shame moments, Caleb. I'm going to start with you. Keep it short. No, I mean, like, it's only an hour long podcast.
How
So
long's that wall?
it's, but
So-
but specifically, you knew you were doing something stupid.
So you mean aside from answering the phone whenever you and Scott called to be on this show?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Aside from that,
Heck, my short one can go right in with yours. There's a boat ramp we use that has a kind of a chunk of concrete in the middle of it. You got to watch for when the tide's low. And when my JH was 1 day old, me and Taylor went and put it in to go running up and down the intercoastal and make sure all the gremlins were worked out of it. And coming back to the ramp, the tide was kind of low, and I thought, it's not that low. And whenever I put it on the trailer, I dented every blade on a prop that had approximately 10 minutes on it. And that prop is still sitting in my barn with the tip of every ear folded over.
10-minute prop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, Scott, don't be bashful.
Yeah,
We all do it.
mine's mostly just weather related stupid shit. I mean, thinking it's not going to be that bad, thinking, that storm's going to go around. But one in particular, I had Charlie Parker on the boat, and we were in Bastrop Bayou. It's not that far of a run back to the dock, but we were catching fish. I'd pulled back into this pullback lake. Everything was great. And there was storms just kind of popping around, and I'm looking at one of them. I said, man, that looks like it's kind of coming at us. And he says, yeah, it kind of does, but I think it's going to go around. I said, yeah, of course, I think it's probably, it's going to go around. We spent the next 35, 40 minutes laying in the bottom of my polling skiff praying that we weren't going to get hit, and just knowing any second. It was the kind of lightning where it flashes and bangs at the exact same time.
Yeah, those are awful.
You know it's on top of you. You could feel it in the air. Those are typically my stupid things. I don't really do a whole lot of stupid things with the mechanical side. I try to keep that to a minimum.
Oh, I thought I did too. I go back to something I heard somebody told me a long, long time ago when it was we were in a storm. I said, "Are we all right?" He says, "We're fine as long as we're not in a boat." Oh, well, we're in a boat. I'll never forget that. Oh, everything's fine as long as we're not in a boat. Dean, you got some wall of shame stuff, don't you?
Man, well, I've probably told both of these stories, and they're both horrible. I was driving somebody else's boat, showing them around, laying down GPS tracks on their boat. And actually, I can't remember the guy's name. He came to the Bite Me party, the feeding frenzy. And so we had run around a couple weeks before that, and I'm, explaining all the little cuts, turn here, turn there. And I cut one just a little bit short, boom, hit the bottom of the boat on something. And I really, it felt like a glancing blow. I didn't think it was that bad. And so we went on with our day. They dropped me off. We didn't pull the boat out of the water at that point because they came to the marina, picked me up, then they went back to their marina. And then when I saw him at the feeding frenzy, he came up and told me, by the way, my propeller was all beat up and actually took some repairs. And I felt pretty horrible about that because I'm out there, Mr. Expert. I'm showing these guys where to go, and I showed them
where not
to go. And then the other worst one was a lot of times I would get in the habit because my boat is very flat, and you can pull it up on the trailer, and you don't have to hook the hook. And if you go nice and slow out of the water, it'll stay on the trailer. Well, that day I pulled it up on there, and I'm pulling up and I'm talking to somebody out the window as I'm pulling up, and they turn around with this shocked look on their face and look back as my boat is crashing onto the boat ramp.
Oh,
what happened?
And it was the engine was still in the water, but we could pick up the front of it and push it back into the water. But I put
that didn't make an ugly noise, did it?
Yeah, it made enough noise to where I always put the hook now.
I've seen a lot of people do it and they're like, oh yeah, it's easy. I'm like, I ain't gonna do that. I'm just too big of a coward. Caleb, you look like you got more to add here.
Daniel will do that all the time in his Simmons and those steep, stinking boat ramps in Louisiana. And
No
I'm usually
way.
sitting in it while he's pulling out, and the pucker factor is on 12, dude. I can't. If they can come off your trailer driving down the highway, they can probably come off of it pulling out of a ramp.
On an angle.
Yeah. Oh, and
On an
everything's
angle.
wet.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, no, it's
And I see a lot of guys. I think Mickey does that. I think Mickey never really.
it's very common.
Yeah.
So, Dean, you said something right before we started recording here that you knew exactly what John hit. How do you know what John hit?
Because it's been there for years and I've seen it at low tide, and it used to have a pole on it marking it. I think it was an old, I mean, it has been there forever. I think it was an old shrimp boat. So a lot of times, I mean, over many years around Aransas Pass, there were old boats that were just ditched out there in the bay. So the wood disappears and the drawworks and the engine block would stay. The best I could tell on this one, because it was so encrusted with oysters, it looks like an old engine block, an old leftover shrimp boat carcass with the motor there. And on extremely low tides, it still gets exposed. But it's right on the edge of that cut. I mean, if you cut it close
On the right side, like where I went.
Yep, I can put an X on the map. I've known
well, that's information I could have used.
Well, I'm sure we covered that in your training in the in the early days.
I don't remember that. For some reason, I don't remember
that. Okay, let's go after John today, because even in the early conversation, you told me, you said, I knew I should have stayed closer to the beach side, but I cut it close to the other side where you never. Well, now you're
not supposed to go there. So what? How? Go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say I can back you up, Dean. I was in Matagorda showing a guy around in a pole and skiff. And there's a weir that not very many people know about in Matagorda. And it's always got, like, I go around it in my big boats because it's still kind of deep and I just want to be safe. But I'm in this pole and skiff and I'm like, man, these things run shallow. I can run over it with that. And you could, in fact, not run it over it with that.
Now you know.
The truth is you couldn't. So it's just an engine block. What kind of damage could an engine block do to a prop? Lord only knows. I think I was going like 25, 30 miles an hour too.
It depends on how you hit it, obviously.
Yeah, when I hit it, just kind of went like y'all know what I'm saying. Just a little quick pause, and then you're good. Then you go. Well,
that's good. It's all good.
Not if you hit an engine block.
Just keep fishing.
And I did.